And welcome to the Box Score, sponsored by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. Terry Collins along with my good friend Murphy Fair. Murphy, I know another exciting week of high school football this past weekend.
Boy, it was. It's hard to believe the season's already half over, or pretty much we're kind of in the middle, 5 weeks behind us, 5 weeks ahead of us still to go. This is the over the hump week, I guess you might call it, but some pretty exciting regional games all across the state, for sure.
When you look at the KFC, Taco Bell of Gordonsville and Smithville stats of the week, you got Cannon County and Lookout Valley playing, and Cannon County got things going, Murph. Not a huge offensive night, but 236 yards for them, and held their opponent, which was Lookout Valley out of the Chattanooga area, to 128 and got a big 39-0 win.
Yeah, you're right. You look at the rushing yards, 186, the passing yards, 50. That's not a real impressive set of numbers, but special teams, no doubt, played a big part in that win, and I know the kids in Woodbury have to be awfully excited about 2 in a row and got a big one coming up on the immediate horizon as well.
But when you look at Lookout Valley, they struggle offensively all year, Murphy, and really have had trouble the last few years, just fielding a competitive team.
They do. I think baseball is pretty much the sport down there, or generally it seems to have been that way. But if I'm not mistaken, the head football coach is also the head baseball coach. That kind of thing 30, 40 years ago wasn't a big deal. You saw that all the time. But now it's just gives you an idea of how small that school is right there when you first surpass the Hamilton County line.
Murphy, when you look at Cannon County and getting any win, when you're trying to build a program, as Coach Daniel is, I think, just the fact that you got a win, wasn't a COVID win, you went on the field, got it done, that should build confidence for them the last half of the season.
Living in Cannon County, I've got a little bit of a relationship with the football team, and there's some great kids on that team. There really are, Terry. But the one thing I've noticed, my visits with the football team back in August and early September versus my visits with the team the last couple of weeks, daylight and dark. They're enthusiastic on the practice field. They're sharp and crisp on the practice field. And that's the hardest battle, is trying to get between the ears of those young people like that. And I know Coach Daniel's pretty excited about where they are right now and what they've got on their immediate schedule.
When you look at Cannon County, statistically in the ball game, they had Harrison Carr with 50 yards passing and some rushing yards. Ryan Perkins, 6 rushes for 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas Roller, 2 rushes, 69 yards. Also a special teams touchdown, 45-yard punt return. And then Dylan Taylor, 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. So they had some different people that contributed to that wide margin of win.
Yeah, and Ryan is the one who had Ryan Perkins, who had the 421 yards the week before. You look at these numbers, he only had 76 yards. Well, he only touched the ball 6 times and scored twice on those 6 carries. So they're starting to feel their oats a little bit, and I just hope that momentum continues to carry on for those guys.
Let's look at some recaps. Watertown at Whites Creek. Of course, Watertown, the big win. Braden Cousineau, 5 for 13, 100 yards, rush for 15. Adam Cooper, 6 rushes, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had a receiving touchdown. Kwame C, 5 rushes, 36 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception for 13 yards, 5 tackles. Brett Price, 2 receptions for 66 yards. Of course, pretty good lineage there through the years for that young man. And then Jaden Robertson, 9 tackles, 1 of those for loss. You see Watertown start offensively, Murphy, to get out of those doldrums that they were in the first 2 or 3 games of the season.
Coach Webster starting to play more kids, getting them on the field, getting them a dose of confidence. Braden only completed 5 passes, but that's an average of 20 yards a throw, and that's a great average to have for a high school quarterback.
Definitely is. Let's go ahead and look at the Cumberland County and DeKalb County. Some stats from that. DeKalb County just got it done on the ground. 355 rushing yards for them. I know Coach Trapp's got to be pleased with that, Murph.
That's kind of like what Cannon County did a couple of weeks ago. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It sounds like that's kind of what they did in the ground attack.
Of course, Trapp did not play at quarterback. They moved Isaac Knowles there. He's just a great athlete. Of course, been playing receiver, and oh yeah, by the way, I can get 8 yards of rush if I decide that I want to run it. 25
and
rushes,
4 touchdowns.
Right, for 207 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 tackles, throw in an interception. Probably sold some popcorn up there. I mean, he just does it all for the Cap.
Exactly. He's their go-to guy, and everybody knew that coming into the season. And he's answered the call just like his coach expected.
Of course, you look at Kobe Barnes, 12 rushes for 101 yards, and then Nathaniel Crook, 12 rushes for 47 yards. So they accounted for all 355 yards of rushing for the Tigers.
On the whole there, that's 49 carries, you might as well say 50 carries altogether for 350 yards. That's 7 yards a carry for the team. Yeah. That's pretty strong, and we probably should have thrown 4 or 5 names of offensive linemen up there because they were certainly doing their job.
Let's go ahead and look at some highlights from the Gordonsville at Stewart County game. Of course, Gordonsville went a long trip to Dover, about a 2.5-hour ride from Carthage. First time that they had ever tangled with Stewart County on the gridiron, and Matthew Albritton, 12 for 14, very impressive, 159 yards and 2 touchdowns, very accurate Murphy in that game.
I think that's one of those games that was thrown together at the last moment. I don't think that was on the original August schedule. But Stewart County had its best year in probably in school history last year. They knocked off Fairview in week 11 of the regular season and ended up winning that Region 5 title over there. And that hasn't happened in Dover before. If it has, it's been a long, long time ago. And I know their coach, Chance Swartz, has to be awfully proud of that effort last year. And he had a fair amount of kids coming back on this year's team, too.
Peyton Clymer completes a pass for 17 yards, has 3 receptions for 30 yards. And then Trayson Davis, the speedster for the Tigers, 3 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown. Stewart County got in Gordonsville's red zone some, but Gordonsville's defense just swarmed to the football, and from what I could listen, Mr. Dudney had a big game, and they continue to be impressive. Gordonsville's still undefeated, got a big game at Cofield this week. I know Scott Clemens wants a huge crowd traveling up to East Tennessee.
I'm still flirting with the idea of going up there. It's a long trip, but I've been to Cofield many times before, and that'll be a great measuring stick, not only for Gordonsville, but for the Yellow Jackets as well. They're undefeated too. I'm sorry, got one loss, but that was very early. And they're a team that's still playing emotional football because of the loss of their head coach last year to COVID. During the week of the 1A state championship, they got as far as the semifinals before bowing out at South Pittsburgh.
Of course, Gordonsville was supposed to play Pickett County. Pickett County didn't field a team, so Coach Scott Clemens gets on the line and picks up a game at Stewart County. Murphy, this is probably the surprising game of the week for me, and that's Walker Valley at Smith County. Smith County takes them to overtime. It's 0-0 at halftime. Coach Matt Dyer just continuing to impress in his first year for the Owls. They were ranked 5th or 6th in 5A, and a lot of people thought that would be a one-sided affair, but it's the first 3 overtime game. You got to go back to the 90s when the Owls played at York and won 49-43 in 3 overtimes.
I remember that game very well, too.
Of course, that was in Jamestown. But Walker Valley, when you look at their quarterback, great athlete, counts for over 200 yards, 3 for 149, rushed for 61 more. Spencer Jackson, kind of a dual threat, not only running the football, but receiving. Peyton Hicks, not great numbers, 1 for 6, 19 yards, a couple of interceptions. But I think he commandeers that offense real well for Coach. And of course, Johnny Lyda is supposed to be back either this Friday night or next Friday night. I'd say Peyton Hicks has probably got a good chance to retaining that quarterback's position, and a young man that's just improving every week for the Owls is Bryce Curry. 28 rushes, 128 yards, 1 reception for 19 yards, and he's learning how to run the football, Murph.
Tell you what, right now, if the regular season ended today, Matt Dyer should be Coach of the Year on this one ball game alone. Matt, that's a great effort on your part, and certainly a great effort on the kids' part too. As you mentioned, Terry, the number 6 5A team in the state, and the Owls give them all they want.
Well, we, Javier Gaspar, 2 of 3 field goals. He also added a PAT with 2 minutes, 9 seconds, I think it was to go, he hits a big field goal to put that game in overtime. It was 6-3 at the time, and on somewhat of a wet field for a guy that had been struggling kicking the football. Awful big kick for him in a pressure situation.
It's a mark in the loss column, but it's a win in the momentum column as far as I'm concerned.
I'll agree. We'll take a look at the region scores and standings when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com. Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analyst, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
Powell & Meadows Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Meadows Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
Does the service from your security company leave you feeling uncertain? Like us, you want to feel good about your security company because your home and family safety is so important.
For just $99.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3-window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and 3 months of monitoring. It's super easy to get started.
You're ready for local security service. Give us a call or visit DTC online and discover our local values today.
And welcome back to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. Murphy, we've got a lot of scores to look at. Let's go ahead and delve into those, as this is the Sonic of Carthage Week 5 scores. Clay County over Joe Burns, 20-6. North Green over Red Boiling. Clay County game a little closer than maybe some people thought.
And the North Green game surprised me a little bit. I think that's North Green's first, maybe second ball game. They're really struggling. They're called the Huskies because they're in the north part of Greene County.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the standings in Region 4, 1A. Clay County sitting on top there at 1-0. Of course, Gordonsville has not played a region game yet. Joe Burns sitting there at 1-1. I don't know that Gordonsville, Clay County, who we thought on the front end, Murphy, was going to be the cream of the crop. I don't know we've seen anything to dispute that.
No, it's pretty easy to figure out who the best two teams in that league are, and they don't play each other for a while. Maybe the last game of the regular season, I think. I went to that game last year, and it was a dandy for about a quarter, and then Gordonsville started pulling away a little bit.
Region 4, 2A, the Sonic of Carthage scores. We've got Trousdale County and Westmoreland, 16-7 game. That score a little closer than I thought it would be, Murphy, but Westmoreland, you know, even in Smith County's 18-0 win, they just battle you.
They do. They do. They're just good country kids that work hard and play hard, and you always expect a battle on your hands if you have to go to Westmoreland and play.
East Robertson wins over Hartford 21-0. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 2A standings. Looking, you know, as we kind of thought to start the year, no surprises. Trousdale County and Watertown sitting there both at 2-0. East Robertson and Whites Creek at 1-1. Harpeth and Westmoreland 0-2. Still several games to play, Murphy, because you're looking at a 16 region, so you'll have 5 region games. So this could juggle quite a bit between now and the end of the year.
I think Trousdale and Watertown will still stay on top when it's all said and done. Everybody else is playing to go on the road in the postseason. A word to the wise, Coach Webster, you got to throw that regular season game so you can win the one in the playoffs. Because Trousdale and Watertown have just been so evenly matched the last 2 or 3 years, Terry. It's going to be really difficult, I think, for either one of those to beat the other one twice.
Looking in Region 4 3A, Sonic and Carthage scores. We've got Giles County over the Community. Not a surprise there. And then Sequatchie County, a big win over Grundy County. 41-0. Murphy, anything surprising there?
No, that's probably the first place and the last place team in that top score. And then Sequatchie, apparently, maybe they got all their kids back from COVID or whatever, because that's the most points they've scored all season, I believe.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the standings in Region 4 3A. Giles County and Sequatchie both sitting on top. But Murphy, with only, well, Giles has played 2, everybody else has played 1 game. You know, there's still a lot of football to be determined, and a lot, what I consider to be a lot of positioning, I guess, to go back and forth between these five schools.
Might have a point of clarification here why Sequatchie's 1-0 and Cannon has not played a regional game. Originally, I thought the only COVID issue was with Sequatchie County, but it was with both Sequatchie and Cannon. So when both teams have to report it that way, then it's as though the game never was played. So that Sequatchie-Cannon County game of 2 or 3 weeks ago is not a part of the equation anymore at all.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 5 3A. Sonic of Carthage sponsoring these scores. East Nashville, a big win over Jackson County, 58-0. A tale of the top squad and the last squad, at least in the standings. Then Stratford wins big over Maplewood, 41-18.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Smith County and Stratford go against each other, because Smith County just annihilated Maplewood, much more so than Stratford did. So, you know, if you just look at the scores alone, Smith County's on track to be one of those top 2 teams in the region when it's all said and done. You
know, you probably, as we look at the standings in Region 5 3A, if Smith County can get that win over Stratford, and barring an upset, you would think they would have the showdown for the East Nashville game, which is either, I think, maybe the final week of the season, where that they would battle for the region championship.
I think you're probably right there, and that's a big star in the Smith County column, given the fact that they're going up against teams from Nashville that they've never played before in the past to speak of.
When you look, East Nashville on top, I think they're the cream of the crop. Stratford and East Nashville wasn't a blowout, so, you know, it'd be a good measuring stick. Of course, Smith County's got Trousdale County this week, then they go to Stratford next week. I think we'll know a lot more about the Owls, and they've continued that improved play from week 1 when they struggled against Gordonsville to now.
I think that Smith County-Trousdale County game means so much more than it maybe did 2 or 3 weeks ago after that win over Maplewood. It'll be a good warm-up game for the Owls, I think, and if they can come out of that game relatively healthy, I like their chances of going to Nashville.
When you look, Maplewood and Jackson County seem to be the 2 squads that'll be battling for that 4th playoff position. And Murphy, I think when you're looking at those 2 programs, just to make the playoffs is a feather in their hat.
Yeah, Maplewood under a new head coach this year. They're still getting used to their coach. The coach is still getting used to them as well. They're struggling, and I think numbers are not real strong. I saw part of that game on TV, and there were not a lot of substitutes on the sideline, so the depth factor is not very strong.
Yeah, Maplewood dressed only 30 at Carthage when they played them. Of course, Smith County went out to a 56-0 lead on their way to a 56-16 win in Carthage for the Owls' first win of the year in their home opener. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 4A Sonic of Carthage scores. You got Upperman, a big win over Stone Memorial, 27-9, and then Macon County a one-sided victory against Livingston. Macon County bouncing back from that disappointing Trousdale County loss. Of course, Daniel Cook, resident of Smith County, lives there in Pleasant Shade. just talked about how disappointed that Kyle Shoulders and his troops were. Didn't play well against Trousdale Murphy, but you know, that's a good thing. You got from Friday night to Friday night to, you know, circle wagons and get back out there and play better football.
We can't hardly give enough kudos to Upperman High School and Adam Kane too. They moved up from 3A to 4A, and they're just kicking butt every time you turn around. They're putting a lot of points on the board, and quite frankly, I'm kind of glad they moved up to the 4A ranks.
Right. Well, I'm sure the Smith counties and people like that had to battle them every year. You know, you take Adam Kane, I think the one thing that he's a disciplinarian, and he coaches physical football play. That's not always been the case at Upperman High School, and that's no offense to any of their previous coaches. Of course, Jimmy Maynard was there, and that was his ticket to get them, I think, all the way to the semifinals that one year. But when you look at Upperman football, they'd kind of gotten away from that, went to the spread offense. They really attacked on defense, but they gave up a ton of big plays. They're a whole lot more fundamentally sound now as Upperman football with Coach Kane calling the shots.
I think Jimmy Maynard would like to see Coach Kane move up too, because Upperman's topped Cookeville a couple of times in the last 3 years, I think. So, but kudos to Adam and the rest of the Upperman Bees. They're going to do just fine at 4A, and probably are looking for a collision with Greenville, Anderson County, or Elizabethton somewhere down the line once we get to the postseason.
Let's go ahead and look at the standings in Region 4A. Upperman and Macon County sitting there on top. Of course, they still got to play. You got Stone Memorial in the cab there at 1-1. Cumberland County at Livingston both 0-2. Livingston has just really struggled again this year, Murph.
Terry, like you mentioned too, Upperman obviously a very strong defensive team. They played 5 games and only given up 41 points. That's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and then you're done.
Let's go ahead and look around the area. Some scores from Sonica Carthage. We want to thank them for sponsoring this segment for us. Oakland over Siegel 49-7. Nashville Christian hands Clarksville Academy its first loss.
I was going to say that's the first loss for Scott Murray and his new assignment up there at CA.
Coalfield suffers their first defeat. Carter beats them 34-30. We give Coalfield some credit, Murphy, stepping up in classification and playing a good football team.
Yeah, Carter's done very well under the coach that's been there for about 3 years now. And in case anybody wonders where Carter High School is, it's in Strawberry Plains. I know you've seen that exit.
You know, Oneida over York, that's developed in quite a big rivalry. 21-10, Cookeville continues to struggle, losing Warren County 21-14. And then White House at Titan Stadium wins it 36-34 over Waverly.
And that one surprised me a little bit. I really thought Waverly might win that football game, playing with so much emotion. But Coach Hamilton at White House, that's a big win for them. They've struggled a little ever since Jeff Porter's retirement, and that could be a landmark win for them, maybe trying to get that program turned around a little bit.
We'll look at the upcoming games, including region games and games of interest when we return to the box score. And we've also got the Guru's picks as you're watching the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
Catch coverage of high school football action on DTC Sports each week. Watch DTC3 every Friday night at 6:45 or online at dtc3.tv for football game night as DTC Sports presents the area's best games. Watch this week as the DeKalb County Tigers host the Cannon County Lions. Football game night all season long on DTC Sports.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell, located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analysts, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. We want to thank our title sponsor, which is Blackwell Realty and Auction, and the Josh Kirby team. And now we're going to look at the Associated Press poll statewide. Looking down through there, Murphy, Peabody, South Pittsburgh, Fayetteville, people that we normally see there. You got Gordonsville there at rank number 5 in 1A. Coalfield, their opponent, on Friday night, where they're going up to Coalfield 4-1. Clay County, they're at 4-0. So, you know, a lot of the normal folks that we see in 1A ranked.
Over in West Tennessee, everybody since July or August has been talking about a Peabody-Fayetteville showdown once the Peabody dropped to the 1A ranks this year. But those first 4 teams, and maybe the first 5 teams too, because Gordonsville's pretty salty in their own right, but McKenzie's a team that a lot of people haven't given much credit to. They've got a 2,000-yard rusher coming back from last year that's helped them attain that position in the poll. There's some really good football teams. 1A is very, very tight this year for sure. Looking at Meigs County on top of Class 2A, of course, there's no stranger. Them and Trousdale County has had some great battles in the playoffs the last few years, either over at Meigs or down in Hartsville. You got Hampton there at 4-0. Marion County, a usual suspect in 2A at 3-0. Huntington sitting there at 4-1. Forest at 4-1. And then Watertown sitting there, struggled early. They've come on as of late after losing the first 2. Watertown sitting at 3-2, and they're ranked 10th. I went to Fairview last Friday night to watch Westview, just to watch the Simpson kid, who's an Alabama commitment, the quarterback for Westview. His dad's the head football coach at UT Martin, and he's the real deal. He's got a great arm and a great touch on the ball, but he's like Fran Tarkenton in the backfield, Terry. He's a good runner with the ball, and I asked their coach pregame, how do you like your postseason chances? And he said, if we play up to our capabilities, we'll be in the hunt all the way to Chattanooga. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 3A and 4A poll. Of course, Alcoa on top. Their only loss to Maryville after being down. Pretty good bunch, but Gary Rankin's squad rallies and comes up just short. In that ball game, you got Covington and Loudon. Giles County at 2, 3, and 4, both undefeated. All 3 undefeated at 5-0. East Nashville, a team that is expected to win Smith County's region there at 4-1. Murphy, anybody else jump out to you in that top 10? It's some pretty good football teams. Dyersburg at 5-0. They were 4A last year, and that's another team that's dropped down 1 classification. They play Covington next week, and that ought to be a dandy. They're off this week, so that gives them an opportunity to nurse a few wounds. Something a lot of people may not know, Bart Stowe, the head football coach at Dyersburg, his first cousin's a pretty good football coach too. Kevin Creasy at Oakland. That's true. Looking at Class 4A, of course, Greenville, just every year, Murphy, they seem like they just reload them and Tulahoma and Pearl Cone, all sitting there at 5-0. It's hard for me to believe that anybody besides those 3 teams will win Class 4A. There's another team that's not ranked that's right on their heels that might have a shot. But Greenville and Elizabethton both are playing awfully well right now. That other team is Anderson County, and they've always been kind of the cream of the crop as far as 4A goes in and around the Knoxville area. But once they go up against Elizabethton, the team that's won the last 2 4A championships, and Greenville, which won the 2 before that,
right.
And all of those 4 championships were perfect 15-0 seasons as well.
You look at Montgomery Central, they're undefeated, and then you got Upman sneaking there at 4-1 at number 10 in the polls. So, you know, it's a long way to go, Murphy. I know right now we're kind of getting a feel of what people have, but still should be some great football left.
And the thing about it is there's going to be some major upsets. We just don't have a clue right now.
That's true. Let's go ahead and look at 5A and 6A. You know, Mount Juliet sitting there second, Page at 5-0, fourth, Springfield. Station Camp, surprisingly, sitting there at 4-0. They're ranked 8th. Henry County's played a brutal schedule this far. Looking at 6A, Oakland and Maryville. I mean, that's the 2 teams you look at. Does Riverdale have enough to challenge Oakland?
I don't think so. They certainly don't have the depth that the Patriots have, and that's going to be the single difference in that, I believe. You mentioned Station Camp. I really like what their new coach has done over there, a former Gallatin Green Wave who played at TSU, and then all of a sudden he's in the NFL for 12 years or so, and he's come back and really done a great job in getting that Station Camp Bison team disciplined and playing some awfully good football. Obviously, they haven't lost yet.
Region 4 1A games coming up this week. As we look, Westmoreland at Clay County. I still say that'll be a good ball game, Murphy. Westmoreland's battled everybody this year close and have had a lot of narrow losses.
Yeah, and Clay County's just keeps putting points and more points on the scoreboard, but they may have their toughest match to date against Westmoreland.
Of course, Gordonsville at Coalfield should be a good one, matchup of 2 top 10 state-ranked teams.
Yeah, I look for that to be a war. They both got good size up front. They're both well coached. They both got community support. You know, Gordonsville is going to take 300 or 400 people to Coalfield, and you can't get there from here. You got to go somewhere else first. Region
4 2A games on the slate, Smith County at Trouser County. Of course, a big rivalry there. They haven't played in several years. You got Watertown at Upman, Whites Creek at Cheatham County, McEwen at Harpeth.
There's some things I remember about that last Smith County Trousdale County game, but I don't think I'll mention them here on TV, and you know what I'm talking about.
That's
Terry.
For sure. Region 4 3A games of the week. You've got, of course, Giles County and Page, a COVID situation there. Bledsoe County at Sequatchie. Our Huff and Puff Trucking game of the week on DTC Sports. Cannon County traveling up to Smithville in a big rivalry against DeKalb County, and then Franklin County at Grundy County.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned rivalry, because people who talk about Tennessee and Vanderbilt having that big rivalry, it's not much of a rivalry because Tennessee's won so many games, and the Cannon County, DeKalb County rivalry, if you want to call it that, is very one-sided. We saw numbers last week, and I think it reflected the fact that DeKalb County's won about 85 or 90% of those meetings. But I think the wins that Cannon County's had the last couple of weeks is going to give them a dose of confidence that maybe they haven't had in the past when those two get together.
All right, looking at Region 5 3A games. Independence at East Nashville, Stratford at Hunters Lane, Maplewood at Friendship Christian, Livingston at Jackson County.
Nothing really to talk about in that other than the fact that when Arcente Broom was at Maplewood, they had a special relationship with Friendship Christian. They'd go down there preseason during the month of August and have a knockdown, drag-out scrimmage with Friendship Christian, and then the Friendship Christian players and the Maplewood players would all bond together over a meal after that scrimmage. But I don't think that's the case now that Arcente has gone to Nashville Overton, but it still should be a good game nonetheless.
Region 4 4A games. Looking at Macon County at Portland, York at Stone, and then Cumberland at Polk County. Let's go ahead and look around the area at some matchups that Brentwood Academy and NBA, that's always a headbanger, Murph.
It is, and there has been a lot of confrontational things off the field that have developed when those two got together. It ought to be a great one.
Wilson Central at Mount Juliet, that's always a big rivalry game.
Yeah, and both of those teams were at 6A last year, and they both dropped to 5A, but they're still right there about the same enrollment and ought to be a dandy.
and this one should be a great one. Pearl Cone at Tulahoma. I got to talk to the head basketball coach, Jason Welch, that used to be at Macon County from Tulahoma, and he knows that the Firebirds have a great athletic team, but I think this will be a stern road test for the Firebirds.
And for Tulahoma as well. Tulahoma, John Olive, 2 years ago, I don't think they even made the playoffs, and then last year they went a perfect 10-0 during the regular season. Pearl Cone may have more Division I college kids on this team than any previously coached Tony Brunetti team. A lot of talent there.
We'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week, plus get the Guru's matchups and his picks when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
Does the service from your security company leave you feeling uncertain? Like us, you want to feel good about your security company because your home and family safety is so important.
For just $99.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and 3 months of monitoring. It's super easy to get started.
You're ready for local security service. Give us a call or visit DTC online and discover our local values today.
Powell & Metals Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Metals Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
And welcome back to the box score, sponsored by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. And Murphy, our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. Very familiar foes, Cannon County and DeKalb County. And, you know, regardless of what they play in, Murph, it seems like it's always a heated rivalry.
It doesn't battle when your border runs as long as that Cannon-DeKalb County line border. You know, you got family members living in both counties, and they go to church together. It's just one of those games that you really want to win. You could go 1-9, and as long as you beat one of those other two, it would be a good season.
I want to say, I don't want to mean this in a mean or bad kind of way, but when I say heated, I'm talking about there's been some probably very vocal points before and after this game when these two clubs meet, whether it's on the basketball court or the baseball diamond or softball or whatever.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'd say there might be a bet or two on the line in this one too. What do you think?
Let's go ahead and look at the history of this rivalry through the years. 38th meeting since 1963. DeKalb County really has owned the lines on the gridiron, 31-5-1. They've won the last 13 meetings. Of course, Cannon County actually won the game on the field, 19-7. In 2018, but have to wind up fourth in that one. DeKalb County 14-4-1 all time versus Cannon in Smithville. So 4 of the 5 wins have come in Smithville. Cannon County last one in 2007, 26-23 in Smithville. And Cannon County only beaten DeKalb County twice since 1967. So when you're looking at a 54-year period, I'm sure they're anxious to, they've eaten enough crow lately. They're ready to,
Well, like I said, the wins the last couple of opponents for Cannon County has got those kids playing sky high right now. Now, you got to remember DeKalb County is a much larger school playing at the 4A and Cannon's still at 3A, but that doesn't matter in this game. If it was 5A and 1A, the emotions would still be there and ought to be a good game. Two great coaches who are also great individuals. They care about their kids and help them give it the best shot, and we won't have to wait much longer to find out, will we?
That's right. All right, Swami, we're going to get your black hat on, and we're going to let Murphy do some picking. Look like to me you got an awful tough job from the games that are appearing on the screen right
Those
here.
4 up there could go either way. I'm going to really test myself on this one.
All right, let's start out with Gordonsville making the trip to East Tennessee, no doubt looking for some changing color in the leaves. Probably not hardly yet, but that should be a great ball game between the Tigers and the Yellow Jackets.
Turn left on I-40 when you get to exit 347 at Harriman, and that's your quickest route to Cofield. Ought to be a great game. I think Gordonsville has probably played a little tougher schedule, but they've still got Fayetteville on their schedule, the defending 1A state champion. I'm going to have to go with the Tigers in that one of Gordonsville.
Smith County at Trousdale County, going to the Creek Bank, it's hard to win. And, it seems like every time the ghost of Jim Satterfield Pass shows up and, it's just, they have a great home field advantage. They've got new bleachers down there. This has been a great rivalry through the years. Of course, they hadn't played in several years, Smith and Trousdale.
I think the one advantage that Smith County has is none other than their head football coach. He's coached at Trousdale County, was in charge of the middle school program, and I don't know if anybody that's on this year's Trousdale County schedule knows Trousdale County any better than Coach Dyer. Right. And for that factor alone, I'm going to go with Smith County in that one. Maybe a mild upset.
Watertown at Upperman.
Upperman's just playing so well, especially on their defense. Watertown's going to have its best offensive attack in order to stay on the field with the Bees, especially playing in their home territory, if you will. I think Upperman wins that one going away.
All right, Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week here on DTC Sports, Cannon County at DeKalb.
Boy, that's tough. Two great teams, two great coaches, a lot of intensity in the stands on both sides of the field when those two get together. And to help motivate the Cannon County Lions, because I now live in Cannon County, I'm going to have to go with Coach Matt Daniels' squad.
When you look at rivalries, Murphy, I think that's one thing that makes high school football so great.
Oh, it does, and it spills over to basketball and spring sports as well. But football is what really kicks it off. That's when everybody kicks up the intensity level. And it's supposed to be kind of cool this week. The temperature will probably be in the upper 40s, low 50s. I don't know how much of a difference that'll make on the field. Those kids will still be pretty warm, but it ought to be a great night.
Well, Murph, it's halfway done, and it seems like it's flown by. And we're really looking forward not only to the last half of the season, but also the playoffs that'll be coming up.
And I think our 5 teams in the DTC area all have a great chance of gaining playoff status, and it wouldn't surprise me if 3 or 4 of them get past the first round. It's going to be a fun postseason for sure. For Justin Malden and Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins, and we appreciate you watching the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.